words of my mouth, the meditation of each and every one of our hearts today. Hope this God, who is our eternal rock and our Redeemer. Welcome. Welcome to Dan the Man's Used Car Extravaganza, where our used cars are as extravagant as our prices, where our guaranteed is guaranteed to guarantee. Guaranteed. If you're looking for a used car, look no further. You've come to the right place. We've got big cars, little cars, compact cars, 4 doors, 2 doors, hatchbacks. We've got red cars, blue cars, yellow cars, green cars, black cars, white cars. We've got old cars, used cars, antique cars, classic cars. Any car you want. You want a convertible? We got it. We've got what you need. Look no further. Here at Dan the Man's, we aim to please. Take this beauty. She just came off the trailer to live today. I bet this is just what you are in the market for. This is just what you need. She's got all the bells and whistles. Everything's automatic. She's got even a high-tech entertainment system for taking the kids on long rides. It's got DVD player built in. The sound quality is amazing. You worried about safety? Got airbags all around. She is a beauty. Interested? Just picture yourself cruising down the road. Windows down, wind in your hair. This is just what you need. You want to see what's under the hood? Sure, no problem. Here you go. Nothing. That's right. Here at Dan the Man's, we believe that cars do not need engines. In fact, we believe that cars are better without engines. Because, see, engines take a lot of repair, a lot of maintenance, a lot of upkeep. They're a big hassle. You got to take them to the mechanics. You got to pay those big mechanic fees. It's so hard. And talk about the environment. Cars without engines are much cleaner on the environment. Look at all the fossil fuel you're saving. You don't need to put oil in them, no gas. You don't even need electricity in them. So here, we care about the environment. Wait, where are you going? What? Why doesn't anybody want my cars? Why doesn't anybody want to buy my cars in this lot? See, Dan the Man just doesn't get it. Cars without engines are about totally useless. Cars without engines are about as useless as faith without works. Faith without works. That's exactly what James is saying in our passage today, is as useless as a car that doesn't have an engine. James opens up his passage by asking this rhetorical question: what good is it, my brothers, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can that faith save him? And the implied answer is, of course not. Of course, a faith without works couldn't save somebody. Now, we, Protestant, evangelical Christians, who have studied our Bible, know that Paul seems to be saying the exact opposite, doesn't he? If somebody were to come up to you and say, are you saved by faith or by works? Does faith alone get you to heaven? Your answer would probably be yes. It is faith that saves us. And you might go to Romans or Ephesians and say, and quote Paul, where he says, faith alone and not by works is our salvation, lest anyone should boast. Ephesians 2:18-19. Say faith alone. Or Romans, salvation comes by faith from first and last, only by faith. So you say, wait a second, it seems at first blush that Paul and James are contradicting each other. It seems like they're saying the exact opposite thing, that Paul is saying it's faith that saves you, and that James is saying it's works that saves you. But you have to realize that James and Paul are addressing 2 different audiences, dealing with 2 different problems at 2 different times, using language slightly differently. Paul is writing to people who think that by living according to the Jewish law, circumcision, dietary law, that living according to these works, that these works are the things that will get them saved eternally. That if they just do these things, God will save them. And he's saying, no, you've got to have faith in Jesus Christ, or else those works mean nothing. James, on the other hand, is dealing with people who claim to have faith in Jesus, but then whose lives don't reflect that claim, who are living lives just like anybody else in their society, who are living lives no differently than the people around them. So James is saying, if you are claiming to have faith, but your lives don't exemplify that faith, don't exhibit that faith, then your faith is not a true faith. So you see, James and Paul are dealing with two opposite situations, two different sets of people. Paul is dealing with somebody who does, quote-unquote, good deeds, but does not believe in Jesus. James is dealing with somebody who claims to believe, but then doesn't act like it. Paul is addressing those with works, but no faith. James is addressing those with faith, but no works. One is a car without an engine. The other is an engine without a car. Both are equally useless until you put them together. Faith and works must be together. Faithless works will not save you, but neither will a workless faith. James is saying that a workless faith is a worthless faith. A workless faith is, Andrew, a worthless faith. James goes on to give us an example of what a workless faith looks like. In James 2:15, he says, if a brother or sister is poorly clothed or lacking daily food, and one of you says to them, go in peace, be warmed and filled, without giving them the things they need for the body, what good is that? A hungry person can't fill up their empty stomach on kind words. A naked and cold person can't warm themselves with compassionate sentiment. James concludes in 2:17, so also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. Another way of saying it is a merely said faith is a dead faith. A merely said faith is a truly dead faith. You've got to talk the talk and walk the walk. The renowned philosopher Søren Kierkegaard tells a parable about Duckland. He says, in Duckland, the ducks are all beautiful little ducks. And every Sunday morning, the ducks waddle their way out of their homes, down their ducky streets to their little duck church. They waddle up the steps of their church, their duck church, and they move to their duck pews where they sit every week. Each duck goes to the same pew that they always go to and sits and squats in the same pew where they always squat. And then they sing their little duck hymns. And then the little duck minister waddles out and waddles up the pulpit steps into the podium and turns and opens up their duck Bible and reads the duck scriptures, where it says, ducks, you have feathers, you have wings. Ducks, you can soar in the air like eagles. You can fly high and soar just like the noble eagles. And the ducks love this passage. It's one of their favorite passages. And the duck preacher preaches marvelously on this, and all the ducks shout. The ducks go crazy. They love the sermon. They can soar like eagles. And at the end, they sing their duck closing hymn, and they plop off their pews, and they waddle out the door, and they waddle home. Ducks can soar, but they waddle home. Great message, no impact. Friends, we have wings. When we keep our faith to ourselves, we waddle. When we make our faith private and personal and don't share it with anybody, we waddle. When we ignore the good works that God calls us to do, we waddle through life. We are called Christians, and we are called to serve and to love. We are called to soar through life on good works of love and good deeds of kindness. Otherwise, we're just waddling through life. Works are not what save us. Works are the necessary evidence that we have already been saved. Works don't save us, they just show that we're saved. Salvation comes from faith, just as Paul says, but works are a necessary result of our faith. Our works are our expression of gratitude to God for saving us. Salvation is knowing that we have wings. But deeds of love, acts of kindness, acts of obedience, that is soaring, that's spreading our wings and flying high. Salvation, faith, is knowing that we have wings. Works are soaring high upon those wings. James is calling us to works, not because the works are the things that save us, but because the works are the evidence, all the evidence that the world needs that we are already saved. You say, who cares what the world thinks? Who cares what anybody else thinks about my salvation? If I'm confident in it, then it shouldn't matter what anybody else thinks about me, right? But when the world sees our good deeds, when they see us soaring high, when they see our kindness and our love and our generosity and our help and our aid and our sustaining endeavors on their behalf, they will witness the love of Jesus Christ in their life. They will witness our faith, not because we need to prove to them that we are saved, but because we need to prove to them that our Savior saves us and is able to save them. Our works call them into relationship with Him. Our works testify to our faith which is given to us by our Lord. Our works change us and they change those around us. Works don't save us, they just prove that we are saved to those around us. If we are truly saved, we will work for Jesus. James makes this clear, abundantly clear in the next verse. Listen as James addresses someone who thinks they don't need the good works, who thinks that faith alone is enough, and that they don't need to act upon their faith. James 2:18 says, someone will say, I have faith, and someone else, I have works. You have faith, James says, someone will say, you have faith, and I have works. James says, show me your faith apart from your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. Works are the outward evidence of an inward faith. Works are the outward evidence of an inward faith. Friends, the reverse, the opposite, is also true. The absence of works, the absence of good deeds, are the outward evidence of an absent faith. The absence of works are the outward evidence of the absence of an inward faith. We can say it this way: no works, no faith. If you were arrested right now, if a police officer walked through those doors and arrested you and took you to prison, and you stood before the judge in the courtroom, and you were wondering, what crime am I accused of? And the judge said, you are accused of being a Christian. The crime that you have committed, the crime that you are accused of, is that of being a Christian. You're like, great, that's good, right? The judge says, now prove it. Prove that you're a Christian. What evidence would you offer to that judge to prove that you are a Christian? What evidence could you offer? Let's see. I go to church sometimes. The judge leans over his bench and he says, just because a thing is in a garage doesn't make it a car. Just because a thing in a garage don't make it a car. Just because a thing is in a museum doesn't make it heroic. Okay, you're in church.